Hello world. I'm trying to keep these videos to 5 minutes. My last video was a little bit long, so hopefully let's see if we could stick to the 5 minute rule. Today I want to talk about the 7 signals. In my last video, I mentioned how I'm working through this game theory for Bitcoin to determine if we're able to use these 7 signals in order to figure out where the Bitcoin cycle might actually top out this year. So I'm calling this the Bitcoin cycle top thesis. And there's 7 signals I've come up with. In my previous video, I touched a little bit about the first signal. So the first signal is just the 4-year cycle duration for Bitcoin. We've been through 3 cycles at this point. We're currently in the 4th cycle. I explained in my last video about how I came up with the calculation for this first signal in terms of the number of days from the halving date to when Bitcoin typically tops out. So if you see in my screenshot here, it's roughly about an average of 530 days. Over, under, it varies every cycle, but we're just trying to find a nice clean number. So 530 days is what I took. So 530 days plus the Bitcoin halving date gives us a rough idea where Bitcoin will top out. Now, when I did that for the cycle, it came to be a date of October 8th. Again, I'm going to repeat this because I said that in the last video. I feel like October 8th is too early. And maybe I'm wrong. I end up getting proved wrong because Bitcoin could jump a lot between now and October. But if I had to take a guess, I think this is telling us possibly it will be in October. But I think that first week in October sounds a little bit too early for me. Also because my other signals have not been triggered yet. So we'll see how this plays out. That being said, the one thing I forgot to show you in the previous video, which I'll show right now, is the halving date. So the halving date is right here. I had that hidden in my screenshot initially. So just so you could see that the halving date plus the 530 days is how I came up with this October 8th date. Now, this is a rough time frame, so we'll be keeping an eye on this. Another thing I wanted to mention, which a few videos ago, I was not able to show you when I was going over the fact that Bitcoin seems to go down by 1 month within the 4-year cycle dates for each of these dates. So what I mean by that is, for example, when Bitcoin bottomed out, you could see each month was going down by 1. So this was January, December, and then November, even though these are 4-year cycles apart. Same thing was happening at the Bitcoin cycle top. If we exclude cycle 1, again, cycle 1 was just a really weird year because that was the inception of Bitcoin. So it's really hard to have stable numbers there. But if we really start from cycle 2, you'll see this was also going down by a month, even though these are 4-year cycles apart. So we have here December, we have November, and also this falls in line with the fact that potentially we'll be topping out in October sometime. Same thing with the halving date. The halving date was a little interesting because between cycle 2 and 3, this dropped by 2 months instead of 1. So this was interesting. And then the halving date before that was actually by 3 months. And then here we have it by 1 month. So again, we'll see how this all plays out, but just interesting patterns I'm noticing. And I just wanted to explain that here in my spreadsheet because I'm doing all these data tracking in my spreadsheet. Okay. All right. So that being said, we have 7 signals. I want to play this as a game. So what I'm planning to do is I don't want to reveal all 7 right now. What I'll do is as each signal gets triggered, I'll make a video about it and then I'll reveal what the signal is. But what I wanted to do to hold myself accountable right now is to just reveal the first letter of each sentence that I have in my signal. That way it doesn't seem like I'm cheating because I put this in a certain sequence, and I want to see if each of these signals get triggered in the same sequence that I have them right now. So that will be interesting to see play out as well. So if you're interested in this, definitely subscribe, follow, continue to watch, and we'll see how this comes to fruition. Lastly, I have some additional bonus signals, one being the Fed pivot. The Fed pivot was something new, so I really want to watch this. Ron Walker talked about this. I talked about this in my Fed rate cut video. So if you want more details around this, go watch that video. But what I have to say is we have the FOMC this week. So will this play out the exact same way as it did during the great financial crisis of 2008? So to end this video, again, we have FOMC this week. Will the Fed actually pivot this week? If the Fed pivots, this will be really mind-blowing to me, just because during the GFC, the Fed pivoted in the month of September. Again, we are in the month of September. Today's date is September 15th. It's crazy how almost to the date, we have the FOMC meeting this week as well. Now, during the GFC, the market topped out 23 days after the Fed pivoted, which was October 11th. Again, which is actually mind-blowing because my date calculation came out to October 8th if I went by the 530-day Bitcoin count. So there's a lot of weird things that are aligning. That's kind of spooky to me. I don't know if this will play out exactly the same way. But yeah, let's watch how this plays out. This is really exciting. This is going to be an exciting week. Once the FOMC news about the rate decision comes out this week, I will make a follow-up video. But in the meantime, let's keep an eye out. All signs seem to point to October, and I'm very excited to see if this will be the case. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.